Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to welcome everybody to this afternoon edition of Good Grief. And I'm so glad that each of you have joined us on today. I'm so glad to see you out there, Sheila Miles. I see you, the Rebel Inc., and only one Mrs. Cox, and anyone else that might be out there and just not in the chat so far. And let me say good afternoon to our awesome, auspicious host, Crazy Berrytown. How are you, my sister?
I am great today. How are you?
I am awesome. I just cannot complain. And there's Captain Boots. There he is. There's my guy. Good afternoon, Captain Boots.
Oh my God, my bad. Good afternoon.
That's my handsome guy. I hear you're the swimming champion of the world.
Yep.
There we go. Make your mark, guy. Make your mark. I love it. Swim like a fish. Swim like a fish. Truck driver says, "Hello, nephew."
Say hi, truck driver.
Hello, truck driver.
Yes. Only
Auntie
one.
Rebel.
Yeah, everybody's speaking. That's good. Boom.
I'm slipping.
I know. Just kick my shoes out the way so you don't fall down. You're trying to like navigate all the cords that I have hooked up here.
I understand. I understand. How are you, sis?
Doing well. Yeah, it's been a good week. Captain Boots has been home with me. I figured he's had enough camp. So before he goes back to school, he'll have a little time off and just kind of just be a kid. You know, well, camp is for kids, but you know, just kind of not have to get up in the morning and be somewhere. So we've we've just been hanging out. We've had some lunches with some friends and just sleeping in late and getting on each other's nerves, you know. A good week. Yeah.
Typical stuff. Typical stuff.
Getting on your nerves, Trey?
No.
No?
Except for last night we just came up with it.
Except for last night when I scared you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What
So, all right.
What did you do? What did you do to him?
Listen, don't challenge me, okay? Because so he said, I want you to try to scare me. I'm like, okay. So I was doing things like he was sitting next to me and I'd be like, rah, like, but he was like, nah, I'm not moved. And he was like, try to scare me. And I'm like, okay. So I found this these jump scare this music, like sound effects on YouTube.
Yes.
And so he couldn't see it, but I put it up to his ear and I made him cry.
Oh,
Terrible.
scared.
I feel bad, but you listen. He kept saying, "Try to scare me, try to scare me." Look, don't challenge me. So,
You traumatized that baby.
I really did. I felt bad. I still do. Yeah, but
Yeah. We just might be.
I don't know.
There's something going on. I don't know. You scared that baby out of his boots.
I did. He cried. I mean, cried and like full blown tears and the whole shebang. I'm like, oh no, sorry.
Oh, Captain Boots.
I know, poor thing. Look, but that'll teach him.
Well,
Don't tell me to scare you because I'm with it. You know.
I really will.
Oh my gosh. So how are you doing? Are you getting more settled in?
I am. Well, actually, to tell the truth, I'm still unpacking. Quite frankly. Oh, my phone is ringing. Okay, thank you. Somebody was trying to help me out here. We're going to get Kim in here in just a second. I had the ringer off. Thank you so much, Rebel. How did y'all hear the ringer, but I couldn't hear the ringer? Okay. All righty then. Okay, we'll do this one more time. We're going to get Kim in here by phone, but I'm still unpacking and I'm watching the phone to make sure I don't miss it this time. And so a lot of that's going on. I'm bringing a little bit of items still yet that I hadn't brought back to Texas with me. So yes, and of that's here. Still trying to get that. Call me one more time, Kim, and I'm gonna catch you this next go round. So at the end of the day, it's been an adjustment, and I will say, I acknowledged that there was a difference when I shut my house down, because I really felt like my house was given to me to take care of my mom. And so I don't know, the best way I know how to describe it. I worked for the funeral home, so I was blessed to be able to close my mother's casket at the very end of the services. And it felt like another version of closing the casket, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. As I was leaving, closing the door and locking it up and driving out, for the last time, it just seemed like when I watched that garage door come down for the last time, it was that same type of sense of emotion.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, was it emotional? Was it like a sense of not contentment? That's not the right word, but like just yet another emotional closure, maybe relief or something. I don't know. I don't know. How did you
driving? Interestingly enough, driving back to Kansas City, I was overcome with emotion and actually start crying in the car, which is unusual. I'm not a crier unless I'm really, really, really moved. And so, but it was, I mean, it wasn't like a sad, grievous type of pained grieving. It was just like finality and closure, kind of settling in that there's a reality that what I'm getting ready to do right now is like this house somehow has represented the last portion of my care for my mom. And so like this is it. I'm going to Kansas City. And I think that's even why, even after she passed away at the home, it wasn't so much that I was upset that she passed away at my house. I saw that as a blessing. It was just the fact of the purpose of that home was fulfilled. There was no reason for me to live there anymore because my mother was no longer here. So, but yet and still, I did get suspended in like I didn't want to throw her medicines away. It took me a long time to be able to go through the house and throw all those bottles of meds away. Her boots sat exactly where they were when I took them off of her, when I brought her home. Those boots were still sitting in that same exact spot when I moved out of the house. I had never moved those boots. It was just something about those boots that represent something psychologically, I guess, that I just did not move those boots. But then when I was moving out and I took the boots out, that was one point of transition. But then coming
Yeah.
home this last time to actually shut the whole house down in totality, that was a whole nother level of
Mhm.
this is like my complete closure with my care and my responsibility towards my mom. That house was representing that, I guess. And I'm just kind of
Yeah.
and it wasn't a grievous, oh my God, it was just the finality of,
Mhm.
man, this is it. When I leave that house, this is it. And
Mhm.
something about after the house was completely emptied out, completely clean, I felt like something about that was like starting back at a new beginning, but at the same
Yep.
time it was a bittersweet ending at the same time. And
Yeah.
I felt that same sensation of when I was lowering the lid on her coffin, on her
Mhm.
casket.
Mhm.
I felt that same sense of feeling as I saw the garage door coming down
Yeah.
when I pulled off, if that makes sense.
That parallel is interesting that you connect that to that, that the garage door to, closing the casket. That's a very interesting parallel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was different.
Yeah.
So I felt a little tearful for a moment, but at the same time, there was that sense of completion, that my mom knew that she was loved and she was able to be at home with us when
Mhm.
she passed away. And there was something that felt really, really good about that. There was something that,
Got it.
after having been through COVID for that 2 year window, and not being able to come out of that house,
Mhm.
was, and ultimately after her fall and everything that transacted after that, to be able to bring her home and know that that's where that home had served her from beginning to end. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
space, that address right there had served her from beginning
Yep.
to end. And it was completed and it was done with love, and she knew that she was loved, so that felt good.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that. And it's nice that I guess in a good that you acknowledged, you know, that home had served its purpose. Like you said, you were there to take care of your mother, and
Yes.
and that has been done, and sometimes it's hard for us to see that, to make that connection and that piece of closure. And I think sometimes for some of us as grievers, closure is a dirty word.
Hmm.
Like we feel like when we say that, it's like it's closure of everything, and or like, even though it's not, but sometimes I think we feel that if we say that word, that means we're closing everything. My feelings, I'm closing my grief, I'm closing my love for that person, my loyalty to that person, and it's not that at all. You
Yes.
can, I think closure, and in this case, this is a perfect example, can be compartmentalized, right? You're talking about closure in this instance, this building, this home,
Yes.
not your feelings or your love, your admiration for your mother, your care, your concern. You're not closing that. Your grief, you're not closing that. Just that one space.
Yes.
So I think it's important, and I'm happy that you mentioned that because I know, just again, just thinking of that word closure um, can feel heavy for some
Yes.
people.
It
Yeah,
can. It
yeah.
can. And I want to again underscore that even though I knew it was closure and I did have an emotional reaction to it, it wasn't like the, oh my God, like it's not, it wasn't
Right.
that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
painful, hard kind of grief. I think there was the satisfaction of knowing that it had really served its function and that my mother ultimately was blessed in knowing by being in that location that she was loved, because everybody, my siblings, her sister, everybody
Mhm.
came to that location in her passing days, and so she was able to see everybody, and that was good.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I love MCP 812. Good afternoon. But I love what MCP 812 said. I love that too. A simple thing such as closing the garage door. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many things, even little things, right, can be a big not necessarily emotional, as you said, not a emotional, falling out and crying thing, but just a big thing in our heart, in our
Yeah.
minds, a big moment, sometimes a moment of growth, something so small.
Yeah.
Actually, I had something similar, not similar in closing things, but this past week, a few days ago, we were cleaning out a bedroom, and I had this like tote bag of items from surrounding my mom. The time we we had 2 services for her, one in Connecticut and then one in Virginia, in Roanoke, Virginia, where she's buried. And I had stuff from the funeral home, all the cards
Yes.
and expressions, all of the little cards from the flowers. I got a Bible from one of the funeral homes, and then I got this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I feel bad throwing it away. I'm like, I don't want to throw Jesus away, but it's a crucifix. It's a gold.
You don't want to.
I'm not a crucifix in my house kind of person. Like, I don't.
Yes.
That's just not my jam, right?
Yes.
So I think I might just donate it to Trey's school, or the church, because he goes to
Yes.
school. But anyway, but it's beautiful. It's really heavy. It's kind of gold, like brass, bronzy. I don't know, whatever. But I just can't throw it away. I'm like, Jesus, does not belong in the garbage.
Yes. Yes.
But anyway, I went through just one last time. Actually, I don't think I've read the cards since I received them. So I just wanted to see those people's names, and I went through and my house, y'all, it is a junk hole. Like, I just have stuff literally in every corner of this house. So that was my one small act to get rid of something, right? So I said, why am I keeping these cards? Because I used to do that with birthday cards, and like we had our wedding cards, baby shower cards. I would just keep them for what? But let me tell you what, I'm glad I didn't throw them out in one fell swoop, like just take them and throw them away. Why? Because I found a ton of money.
Oh my God.
Listen, I was like, oh, this is nice. This is from so-and-so. And then I'd open up another card. $50 will fall out. Boop, boop, boop. Another $100 will fall out. Boop, up, boop, boop. What? Anyway, but going through those cards though, I said I'm going to look at them one more time. I just wanted to see people's names, and some people wrote really nice things. And,
Yes.
And then I threw them away. And but I felt good though. I read them, and it was just sort of that, not necessarily closure, but I guess maybe a small closure, like, because I just kept them, and they were just sitting there. They were just sitting in that room in this bag with all the stuff that I haven't touched in 5 years. It'll be 5 years next month. So I didn't feel sad, actually. I felt a little emotional, but it was more so the kind words that people said.
Yes.
And I was sort of nodding. As I was reading, I was nodding. Yeah, that's true. Like they would talk about my mom and how funny she was. And one person wrote how, who am I going to go to casino with? And I giggled, but it was nice though to read it, close it, find the money, of course, but then move on, and just throw them away. And of course I kept things there were a couple of cards that I kept that I thought were really beautiful cards. And then there were some cards that had some really nice things in there, because I'm a bookmaker. I like to make photo books on Shutterfly. Yes. And so what I'll do is I'll take a picture, just get like a screenshot, like grab a shot of it on my phone, and then add it to the Shutterfly, and then I'll throw it away. So I saved a few of those things, but just to be able to go through those things made me feel like, I don't know, it made me feel like I had kind of grown a little bit, like I can do it. I can go through these things and throw them away, those cards. Yeah. Kim Pops would say you were acknowledging the condolences from people that loved you and your mom. Yeah. And that, at least in the last few years, I thought would be a hard thing. Like, I can't read those cards. I know they're there, I know, I even opened the Bible that we got from the funeral home with some very nice, a nice inscription there. It was beautiful. But I hadn't even, even when we received it, I didn't open it up. I just got it. Thank you so much. And then gave it to whoever was around me. So I hadn't even read that. So that was my first time doing that. So I felt in a small way that was some form of closure. Yes. And it felt good, actually. It felt good to, and it also felt good just to just see what people wrote and the kindness that they offered and showed at that time. It was actually really beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was pretty nice. Yeah, phases of closure, SK8843. Good afternoon. It says phases of closure, and I just missed it. I just
It's a
lost
really
it.
helpful mindset.
Thank you very much. The chat is moving. Thank you guys.
It's-
Right, Kim, I'm not throwing Jesus away. No, the crucifix is cute though, but I'm not a, we don't have that in our house really. We got a couple of rosaries around here because of Trey being in Catholic school, but that's it. So yeah, that I think this is a good chat. I always say every week, like, I always try to think of something we can touch on, but I think we're
Yes.
there. So you all out there in the chat, what does closure mean to you? And have you felt, with your loved one or loved ones passing, that you have in some compartmentalized way? Again, remember, we're not saying closure is you close off, okay, I'm better, moving on. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying maybe it might be something that like cleaning out something or acknowledging something, addressing something. Maybe there's some business that you've handled to sort of close out that portion of your
Mhm.
loved one's life. But what does closure mean to you? And tell us how you have experienced closure, or in what ways you feel you've gotten closure, and how did that make you feel? Now, because for some people, closure sucks, right? I mean, let's just be real. It feels bad to some people.
Mhm.
Especially when you're thrown into thrown into a loss, or and then the subsequent closure that might come with that. So talk to us today in the chat about closure on your end. Yes, phases of closure or moments of moving
Yes.
forward. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we talked about that here, didn't we? There's that video you show, the difference of there's a difference between moving forward and moving on.
Mhm.
That video you showed a few months ago.
Yes.
So please remember that, everyone, that moving forward does not mean moving on.
Right.
There's a big difference. And yeah, I think, again, I just think about, again, that word closure for some people is really, it's kind of scary, Hey, Lady Tina Cole, hope you're feeling better today.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. We just sort of jumped right in.
Yes.
Hello to everyone. Royal Confessions, Katie Browns. I hope that rooster is somewhere taking an afternoon nap. Only one Mrs. Cox. Good afternoon. So our sis Kim Possible is on the road. First of all, you be safe out there, sis, okay?
Yes, please.
I know you want to be in the chat and be here, but be safe. So she's on the road, and we tried to get her to call in. We might still make that happen, but shout out to Kim Possible, our other host who is normally here with us in Good Grief. Big shout out to you. The Rebel, what's going on, twin? Good afternoon, MCP812. Twanna's Twitch, hey boo.
Hey.
Truck driver, you're here. Good afternoon to you. DJ Stacy Blessed One, Miss Lottie Dottie. Early shout out there. You jumped in here early today. Good afternoon to you as well. I hope I got a chance to say hi. Royal Confessions, I think I said hi. Hello to you as well. SK8843. Let's see. Taking a BTD mom. Hey, good to see you. Good afternoon. All right, so coming back up, truck driver closure is great because what I went through this weekend was crazy. But I stayed at the grave. I had a talk with my brother, and when it was over, I felt good. Yeah. So sometimes, verbalizing.
Yes.
To someone that is actually listening, to your loved one, verbalizing your thoughts and your feelings and making that connection in whatever way you feel is best. Sometimes that brings closure too. And that is a good feeling. Yeah. Yeah. So truck driver, I've recently experienced a loss, his brother, and there was some pending foolishness, I guess you could say, or whatever, and things, and we know that happens. So what they say, weddings and funerals, whatever. And he just, truck driver, I have to say, I thought you handled it very well.
Yes.
And you had a good attitude about it. Like you said, you just stayed out of the fray. You once, you had the time at the grave alone, you were able to get some things off your chest and have a chat with your brother, and you feel better about it. And sometimes that's what we have to do, just say people are going to people.
Yes.
And some people thrive, right? Some people thrive on that kind of drama, and we don't have to buy into it, because our grief enough is drama, right? We don't need all the
No extra.
extra. Right. The grief itself, the loss itself is heavy enough. And so
That's
for
right.
you to take that position and handle it that way. Oh, good. Kim Possible, you're parked. Okay. Phew. I feel better. All right. But for you to handle it that way, and that was what you felt was best for you, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So I'm glad. MCP 812 said, I finally donated some of Val's clothing and shoes to a church for back to school handouts and felt that really made Val feel good. And it blessed my heart. Yeah, that is great. That is great. And, to be a blessing to others, to be a blessing to others makes you feel good. This is why I say, so in my, over in Crazy Berry Town, when we have a challenge every week. This week's challenge is to let your light shine. And I said, sometimes, when you shine the light on others, it kind of pops back on you. All right, girl.
Yes, she
Hey,
is.
you're here. But yeah, so sometimes when you do things for other people, random acts of kindness, donating things, volunteering your time, that makes you feel good too. And your loved one is looking down and feels that same way as well. So shout out to you, MCP 812, for being a blessing
Yes.
to other people and letting your light shine. Yeah, that's great. Only one Mrs. Cox, I had to clean up my mom's apartment prior to her passing. I know she would not be able to come back and live on her own. Just never thought that she would pass. It was a grieving process prior to her passing, and that's interesting you say that, because I've heard many people say that their grieving started before their loved one passed. So yeah, that's important as well. Truck driver said it was some bull. Yeah, I know. KB Browns, there's never closure, but there's finally an acceptance that they're gone and that some of their character is thriving through me. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I said before, there's not, closure completely, right? But maybe some pockets of that person's, like closing their house or home up, like I did that with my mom, and cleaned out her place and taking care of their business, all of her finances and, her business, the business part of her estate, I guess. Some of that weighed heavily on me. I think I told you all, I think one, I guess, big closure was ordering her headstone or her marker. It took me forever. Just looking up and trying to decide which one to get, what it should say. It just stressed me out. I cried and cried. I would get on the phone with the woman at the funeral home, at the cemetery, and I would just start crying. And she'd be like, okay, sugar, just call me back. I'll be here, And I swear we probably went through that like 6 times. And so to finally do it, order it, pay for it, and get the confirmation that it was being laid, put down, that part, that one piece, that closure for that made me feel sad, but it made me feel better that it was done. And I wanted her to have that at her grave. So yeah, I don't think there's ever fully closure of that loss. And of course, we're never closing off our love for those people that we've lost. Never. There's never that kind of closure. So I agree. And the fact that we know that they're living, part of their character, their spirit is living in us, proves to us, right, that there's never full closure. And there shouldn't be. Yeah. Let's see, Lady Tina Cole, I'm still cleaning out my dad's things after more than a year. Still have a ways to go, but I've really turned a corner. Okay. That's good. Progress to you. Hey, Den Darn, welcome in. Good to see you. How you doing today? I know Kim Possible with the glasses. I mean, this is the week of glasses this week. STL with your glasses earlier in the week. Kim Possible all fly. I mean, really?
Look at that. There she is. Right. Now. There she is.
So cute. Let's see. Dendar said, I clicked to hear the oh, okay, talking to Rebel. Gotcha. Twalla's Twitch. I'm not sure if I've reached closure for my mom's death. I'm almost ready to write her a letter. I'm getting better every day. That's beautiful. Yeah, and that's real. That is real. I will again, this is why I say it's compartmentalized, I think. And that is, again, this is why I think, so when we talk about the word closure, this is why I think it is stressful for people to think about it, because they think it means like the whole, everything related to that person or those people that we've lost. When we say closure, it means we're shutting them out, shutting off everything related to them. And it does not mean that at all. It might mean, again, those little compartments of things, their home, their estate, taking care of, things that have been unfinished, before, things that they, sort of business left undone before they passed. And that could be buying the headstone. For me, it was a separate thing from the funeral and the burial and all of that. But I will admit, I feel very much like Tawana's Twitch. Like, I don't feel, and I don't know that I ever will have closure. I still question my mom's passing. Not question, like, if from a medical standpoint, like, did some malpractice happen? I don't mean that, but the whys. Why did she die at 68? Why? Why did it happen? How could this be? That kind of thing. And I'm still pissed off about it. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm very sad about it. I'm angry about it. Y'all know I'm petty all day. And I just look around, like I said, I look around at people. I'm like, why are you, like, how are you just here walking around acting crazy? And my mother is gone. Like, not saying that they should be gone, but I'm just saying, if you can be here, she can too, right? So I get that, it's hard, for me, and so next month will be 5 years. Her birthday is August 24th, and she died August 25th. And this year will be 5 years. And I still, in terms of the loss, like that phone call and the loss, I still feel like it was year one, just like yesterday. And so in that regard, her passing, yeah, I'm not there at all, like not even close. I'm not okay with it. And it really, frankly, it sucks, honestly. I mean, it just does. Let's see. Den Darn, there's always strife at a funeral, right? I had it at my grandma's. It was the devil. He just loves to rattle people when emotions are running high. That is true. When emotions are running high, things just get a little cray-cray sometimes. I think part of moving forward is releasing of grief guilt. This is Lady T. Nicole, if you all are just listening and not reading the chat. I wasn't able to make it to my dad's gravesite for his birthday this week, but my aunt assured me that it was okay. The girls and I did a balloon release at home, and I realized the guilt of not physically going, or I released, rather, the guilt of not physically going to that cemetery. KB Brown's, the thing that brings me comfort is when I see some of their character working through me. I love that. And I love that you recognize that, and that also brings you comfort. I feel that way with Captain Boots. Like, I see a lot of my mom in him, and that brings me a lot of comfort and giggles too. Royal Confessions. I stay so busy on purpose, not sure if I'm just blocking it out or moving on. Could be a little of both, right? Could be. But I think as the years go by, for many, I think in the beginning years, it might be that you're blocking it because it's so fresh, right? And then as we go on, you might be doing that same act, but now it's a little bit more of moving forward, a little less blocking and more moving forward with that time. Yeah. Den Darn, 31 years, and still seems like yesterday. I lost my big sister. I didn't, and we'll never have closure. It's just one day at a time. Absolutely. MCP 812, I just ordered Valerie's headstone, and to see her name on it was a whole other experience. Yeah. When I got the mock-up, when they sent me from my mom, it was a attachment in an email, and that took me a week to open. I just didn't want to see it. Totally get it. And then last in the chat that I see here, Miss Lottie Johnny, I lost my husband, brother, and father within months of each other in 2012. To this day, I still grieve. Absolutely.
Which one?
Shh, dude.
What month?
Well, I know you were born in 2012. I know. I keep the good memories. However, the sadness creeps in at times. Thank you for this session. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's part of grief, right? Like, you're never not going to acknowledge their passing. And again, we always say where there is great love, there is grief, period. I mean, that's just the way it is. So I'm glad that you're here and that you're able to verbalize that and to come here for support and
Mama.
like-minded folks. Yeah. Kim, are you with? Let me see. I know. Oh wait, there you are. Okay. So how are you doing today, love? Is there a delay? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. So I think you might be muted. Not you. We're not muted.
Who knows?
Okay. We'll see if you can just hop in where you can. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're just glad to see your face, though. We're happy you're here. Hopefully you can. And if not, chat is good too. Let us know how you're feeling, how you doing today, what's new. I hope all is well, and your parents are doing well, especially your dad. But yeah, we'll wait to see if you can jump in there. Y'all can still hear me though, right? It's not just
Yes.
Okay, cool beans. All right. It's like, hey. Uh-oh, do I hear something happening? I was looking at something. You all know I love my Instagram grief
Can you
groups.
tie this?
I can't tie that right now, sweetie. I'm live. Y'all. Dude, I'll tie it when I'm done.
Please.
I can't do it right now.
I wish you could. Please, Mom.
So on Instagram, I was reading something, and it's funny that sort of what we're talking about today and the things that we feel and that we deal with around grief are the things that people don't see. You all know what an iceberg looks like, and that the symbolism of an iceberg. It's used for many analogies and metaphors, where an iceberg, you see what you see above the water, but the iceberg is ginormous, like way bigger beneath the water. So for example, in my cultural anthropology class, I teach, when I talk about culture, we talk about when you look at a person, so like you see me in this box on your screen, right? What you see, what you hear me saying, what I'm talking about is only 10% of what makes me me. 90% is what you don't see. And that's an iceberg. What we see of an iceberg is about 10 to 20%. And what's beneath is 80 to 90%. What's beneath the water, what you don't see, right? And that's how it is with grief. People see the funeral. They see we go back to work.
Mhm.
They see us, managing whatever that is. What they don't see is the insomnia. I'll give you a couple, and then I want you to tell me what people don't see
It's not your cookies.
in your grief. But one thing is insomnia. One thing is constant anxiety. Let me think. Look, I don't even want to try to hold you and try to figure out this thing. Headaches, the physical ailments, they don't recognize that that's related to grief. So I want to also hear from you. What do people not see? So again, I see STL in this box looking all beautiful. I see myself in there with my pink hair, right? And what we say to you, STL shares a lot about herself in her streams every day here on Twitch. I share what I do in my Zumba or whatever. But honestly, that's just a very, very small portion of what makes us us.
Mhm.
And so when we talk about and think about grief, again, people see very minimal things about us. What is underneath that? What's underneath the water that people don't see related to your grief?
Mhm.
Broken places inside of me, absolutely, your grief. Loss of appetite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. And that's what actually, that loss of appetite, a lot of people don't even think about that as being related. Insomnia, anxiety, no energy, out of touch, heaviness. Yeah, out of touch. I remember there was, I don't know, something was happening around that time in the news, and people, my friends know I'm always up on stuff, and I was completely clueless. And people had texted me, "Hey girl, did you see such and such?" And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. What? I'm like, my head just isn't there yet. I'm just not there. The loneliness, absolutely. People don't see that. They don't, right? You come back to work, or you are in the grocery store, you're at church, and people think, oh, they're okay. They're back. That's the 10%. That's that little bit above the water. Below the water, the rest of that iceberg is hanging out down there, and it's a lot. It is a lot. So yeah, the loneliness, fatigue, both the physical and emotional fatigue. KB Brown said, my grandma is 94, and my mind sometimes think about when that day will come. She's still in good health, but her age weighs on my mind. Absolutely. I can see that. Yeah, I would totally feel the same way. Let me move this just a little bit and bring it back. There we go. All right. Okay, you can fly the blanket. Thank you. All right, goodbye. Thank you.
Blanket.
Yeah. Lady Tina Cole, they don't see the unanswered questions, the lost hopes. Yes. Yeah, yes, that is definitely, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. And that's not on this diagram that I'm looking at. But the lost hopes. And I think that is what causes me the most on not a daily basis, but a regular basis, the lost hopes. I think that's what causes me to cry the most. I think about Captain Boots and watch him grow and his milestones and different events and things that I wanted my mom to be at, and she can't be. All these things that I knew we'd do together, trips that I still have booked, that we've just moved around because of COVID and stuff, that she was supposed to be on. She had paid her money to be on those trips. We still have them, in the book, so to speak. So that causes me a lot of pain. Absolutely. To be honest with y'all, this is why I speak about drinking Crown, because I be that deep in grief. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, truck driver. I mean, we joke around, right? We joke around about the Crown and everything, and but some of it is just purely because that's what you like, right? But some of it is masking the pain. And I think many, not all, maybe, but if it's not drinking, maybe we mask it in some other way. For most of us, we can identify with that. And again, also people don't see that, right? People think, oh, it's his favorite drink, right? Or this person just loves the casino, or this person loves whatever, and they think it's just a hobby or it's just for fun. But for some of us, sadly, we're masking the pain. We're masking some of those things that are under the water. We're masking the loneliness. We're masking the fatigue, the pain by doing some of those things. So yeah, stop it, Trey. You're gonna knock the stuff over, please, baby. Thank you. Let's see. Hey, Michelle Brownell, good to see you. Glad you're here. Unfulfilled prophecies. Real confession. Speak on that a little bit more, please, if you don't mind. Absolutely. And I think that's what really, I think those, again, for me, like the unfulfilled prophecies and the lost hopes, those are the things that kind of come up regularly, especially having a little one.
I'm more than half your size.
I know you're more than half my size, but you're a little one in terms of age. Thank you. Yes, you're almost 10. I know. So yeah, I think so yeah, and let me see if there's some others that maybe haven't been mentioned yet. So yeah, the physical things, the tight chest, those sudden moments of disbelief, feeling isolated. Somebody said loneliness. I mean, yeah, guilt. Some of us feel guilt, and that's one that I think a lot of people don't share, maybe outside of therapy. You might share it in therapy, right? Because you feel bad that you feel the guilt and you think people might judge you. But that's something that we haven't talked a lot about here. But I can imagine that for many people, that's beneath the water. And guilt for a number of things. There's the survivor's guilt. I think we've touched on that a little bit. Guilt of maybe unspoken or unsaid words, unexpressed feelings before someone passed. That is one that many people they just don't see. When we talk about grieving. Lady Tina Cole, I hear your heart about lost hope. Yeah, I still remember my dad saying he wanted to live to see his grandgirls grow up. That's all he wanted. But my same aunt told me she was so happy my dad got to see me become a homeowner. He was proud of that also. Absolutely.
I mean, your
Yeah.
grandson.
John, hey fam. My dad will never see me get married. Yeah. He would never meet his grandchildren. That's hard, y'all. That is hard. That is really hard. Kim Possible said, I used to date this guy who masked his grief by constantly working and staying busy, right? And so again, right, that's what people see, the working, right? That person's busy. Ooh, they show back up to work and they're just putting it, just getting it done. But what they don't see underneath that surface, that other part of that iceberg, is that is masking the pain and handling grief in that way. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is something that the lost hopes, I think many of us, we don't give voice to, but we think about it a lot. Like I said, I know, like literally it doesn't matter, I will cry. I cried at the Christmas program because my mother wasn't there to see my baby sing a Christmas song. I get it, I do, like I get it. And that again is something that people just don't see. Panic attacks is on this diagram. Crying, just random tears coming up, flashbacks, staring off into space.
I do that a lot.
Achy joints, sleepless nights.
I do that actually.
Forgetting to eat. So I know that was the case for me very early on. It's just sort of trying to just so busy trying to push the hands on the clock to get to the next day that I would even forget to eat sometimes. Nightmares.
I have those all the time.
Okay, thank you. Go play.
Maybe it's gonna have that subject of ADHD probably, but still, we don't talk about that.
Always irritated. Yeah, always irritated. And this one I can't see that well. Let me see what it says. Relationship breakdown. Yeah, so people's relationships with friends, other family members, coworkers, and some of that I think is related to that feeling isolated. So we sort of are over here and everybody else is sort of over here. And that sometimes causes deterioration in relationships. Yeah, so let's see. Kim Possible, the lack of closure regarding things left unsaid or worked out before the passing of a loved one. Yeah, that really, again, people think, when you sort of emerge, right? Like, oh, they're back to work, or like when I went back home to Connecticut, oh, she came back after all these years, she must be fine. No, I'm not, but that's the part of the iceberg that they saw. I'm back. I was finally able to, get through it and come back to Connecticut. But what they didn't see underneath was sweaty palms and armpits. Yes. Because I was nervous about being home. I felt this pit in my stomach that I just could not shake. I've been back to Connecticut now twice, and I still haven't driven down the street where my mom lived. That fear, I don't know if that's fear, the anxiety, people didn't see that. All they saw was just, I'm back, right? Mm-hmm. So again, grief is very much like, that iceberg that is used for so many, in so many different parts of, academia and life for analogies and metaphors. And grief is a perfect example to use that iceberg metaphor because people see very little of what we all just shared here in the chat, what we all go through. And it's so much more than that 10% at the top. I'd even beg to say that people only really see maybe 5%, and that 95 is under the water. There's just so much that people just don't see it. And sometimes if they do see it, they don't get it and they don't know how to react. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, right. Yeah. Go call. Auntie Tiffany said, call Olivia and leave me alone. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Go call Olivia. Bye. Talk to her. Bye. Right. Olivia is Lady Typical's daughter, one of her daughters. They talk all the time. Call her and get some tea with some friends.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Right. Go in your room though, so because they don't want to hear you talking to her. Depression, yes. Depression. Lack of self-care. Yes. yeah, I won't even. I'm not even going there today. We don't have enough time. But yes, depression, lack of self care. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it another day. I really felt and still do. I felt huge fear, so much so that I went to a cardiologist soon after my mother died. I was like, my mom was 68, just turned 68. Um, and she died of a heart attack. And to me, in my grief filled, confused mind, I was like, I'm going to die like tomorrow. It was irrational and just nuts. And and I said, I've got to get it together. I've got to lose weight. I've got to eat better. I'm going to work out and go crazy. And I'm going to go see a cardiologist to make sure my heart's okay. But then at the same time, and some of you might get it, I had that feeling like I've got to do all these things, right? But then the depression and the heaviness of the grief paralyzed me. So I was on this, this is my term. This is clearly not clinical, but I call it the cycle of crap. I feel like this urgency. Get it together, Tracy. Get on that treadmill and do 16 hours of Zumba a day, whatever. And, and eat right. And then I would come back around in the cycle, and now I'm paralyzed in grief. So I sit on the sofa and eat and not do anything and watch TV. And then I see something on TV or I get a phone call or something, and then I'm back on it and I've got to get it together. And it just turned into this crazy hamster wheel of self-care, and I should do this, but then the paralysis of the grief and the depression stopped me from doing that. And it has been 5 years of that. And like right now, like to this day, like I feel like like I've got to get it together. Like I've got this kid, he's 9 years old. I tell him all the time, you should have signed up for the young parents. Okay. So you should have signed up earlier because I'm 48. Your dad is 55, as he calls them, double nickels. And we just retired. Okay. We're tired. But I feel like, I gotta be here for him. Right. I've got to be here. And I'll, and I do fine, I work out or whatever. I just need to eat right and quit all this drinking. But again, I still feel like I'm on that cycle. I get paralyzed sometimes, not as much and for as long as I did in the beginning. But I get that lack of self-care is piled up in there as well. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Lady T, yeah, they're talking now. I hear Trey now on the phone with him. So, Baby Browns, I'm a firm believer that God will provide during times of grief. Absolutely.
Yes.
Example, I was at a gas station whistling while filling up. The lady at the other pump heard my whistling and said, I'm so glad to hear your whistling. It reminds me of my dad who passed a couple months ago. Yeah, and you didn't know how to respond. Yeah, I mean, look at that, right? At the gas pump, right? That's amazing. Right, Lady T Nicole, right? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, next week's topic: grief and self-care. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. So yeah, so I haven't given homework in a while, so you all are due for homework. So for homework this week. Actually, it's really not even homework, but I want you next week. I want you to come back and share with us one tip, one thing, anything. It could be anything that either you have done or you think is a good tip for self-care while grieving. Whatever that is for you, or maybe somebody suggested something, you haven't tried it yet for whatever reason. But let's throw out some tips, because the thing is that we're all here for different reasons. As I say in my stream, some people might be here holding light for someone else. How can I go out, leave the stream and go out and support my friends and family who are grieving? Some of us may be further along in our grief. Some of us may be fresh, or we may have experienced grief and then we've been a little bit removed, and then now it's sort of right back in our faces again. And so sometimes we need to hear from others who are in our position, and we need other support and tips. So I'd like to hear from you next week what you think are good tips. It just has to be one for self-care as we grieve and as we continue to live, or try to live, right, our best lives. even in the face of grieving. So I think that's great. Kim Possible, I think that's an awesome topic. I love it. You said y'all ain't old crazy bear tale. Sarah and Avery, I know, right? Well, look, they was in the Bible. We over here in Crazy Berry Town in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Okay. No, I know I'm not old. I tease Captain Boots though, and you know, but I do literally, I think about it though. I think about how I do need to. There are certain things that I know that could help my life and that could help make me healthier and do better. And I just need to do them. And like I said, I'll get on this like go, and then something will happen. Like I know like last year, literally August 1st, which we're right around the corner, hit me like a brick. It was the month of August. And I don't know if you all are like this, but every August I start thinking about the lead up to my mom's heart attack. And then the days and a couple of weeks after that, and then the surgery, and then when she died. And so I think, okay, August 10th, she was in Roanoke for her class reunion. And then, you know, I went up to see her and meet some of her classmates and blah, blah, blah. And it just last year, August, the entire month was just a solid rock of mess. And I think I ate and drank my way through August. I mean, it tasted great. It was great, but it was not healthy, right? And then I shook it off, and then September I was right back on it. I was on the treadmill. I was walking in our neighborhood. I was doing more Zumba and Taibo and all of that. But you know, self-care is important and consistent self-care. So I'm curious to hear from you all because I clearly don't have all the answers. And sometimes there's new things that we learn from each other also. So yes, self-care and grief. That's what we're talking about next week. Thank you, SK8843. I know a lot of you understand, but thank you for saying that. Yeah, from November to April, I'm a mess, John Studios. I hear you. Listen, and there's so much, right? There's so much, particularly with, you know, milestones, holidays.
Yes.
You know, I mean, but August for me is really the hardest, just because, you know, that's where everything started to unravel. You know, she had talked about this reunion for like 2 years because it was her 50th high school reunion, and everybody and their mama knew about it. Strangely, even the people at the casino where she would go. So I think I told you all, my cousin went. My cousin lives near the casino, and he used to work there. And so the next time he went in there after my mom died, they were like, "Hey, we haven't seen your aunt. Where is she?" And he told them that she passed. And one of the waitresses that would bring my mom copious amounts of fuzzy navels, she broke down, like crumbled in his arms and cried. And she said, "But she was supposed to be going to her class reunion, and what happened?" And you know, so I think about, you know, the excitement of that beginning in August, and then just the rest of the, you know, August is just a wash for me, I feel like. But who knows? This year might be different. I don't know. We'll see. But no matter what, I know that we have a good thing here, and I love this community that we have. I love all of your comments and you sharing your heart, your tips, your ideas, sharing your grief. I love KB Brown's story at the gas station, that little sliver of light that he whistled and someone else felt touched by that. I love those stories, and that's what makes us a great community here. And that's what honestly gets me. I feel like if I can just, you know, break it down, that's what gets me week to week, knowing that we're going to be here together on Fridays. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to be in Discord today. Captain Boots is over me, y'all. He is tough. And I have promised him to go roller skating every day this week, and we have not. So we're literally like bouncing as soon as I hang up from the stream and going skating. So I don't want to get fired. My kid might fire me. So he is done. He's like, "Listen, lady, you streamed 2 days this week. You had to work and da-da-da-da. We're going skating." So I won't be on Discord today. But I love you all so much. Rebel, you want to go? Come on, sis. It's just what? How far is the drive? I don't know. You can make it. Grace Softly, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you. Yeah, you lost someone in April. Yeah, I know it's hard. It is very hard. And we have those questions of why, right? Um, I I might venture to say I ask myself that at least once a week. At least once a week. Like I feel like, like I said, I told you all, and you all know this about me. I'm very, very transparent. All I ever wanted to be was a mother. I didn't really care about being married. I have a great marriage. We've been married this November will be 21 years. So I'm not shading my husband, but growing up, I just wanted to be a mother, and I wanted to mother while my mother was still alive so I could show her through me that she was awesome. And she had that for 4 years, but I wanted more, and I desired and I craved and I needed more. And so I ask, I swear, like once a week, why is she gone? I need her. But such is life, I guess. I know, you all know that I know she sees me. She told me she did through the medium. And I know she sees me, but it still hurts. And I still have lots and lots of questions about it. And I'm still mad in many ways. So yeah, I totally understand, how you feel. Breathe softly. Well, not totally. I do understand that, why the good ones, right? Kebby Brown's my dad died, my granddad in 2001 on July 12th. God gave me comfort through the birth of my son on 7/13. Look at that. God is good. God knows what's up. Now, listen, you all know I've told you all about that too. Me and God, we kind of, we have our little ups and downs. No, it's me with him. He's straight. God is good. He's not petty like me, but he does know what we need, and he delivers every single time. And so you're right, KB Browns. That is beautiful. So yes, let's see. Okay, so Kim Possible, you guys, she will be in Discord. Actually, when on our way to the skating rink, because you all know I'll be in Discord in the car. So I may jump on in the car, but it'll take me a second because we need to get our socks and stuff ready for the skating rink. Right, Lady T Nicole, these kids will fire us in a minute, honey. Listen, they will in a heartbeat. Wasn't there a movie about a kid who divorced her parents or something like that? Captain Boots would totally do that until he realizes that wherever he goes, they're probably not going to let them sleep in their bed anymore at 9. Yeah, so then he'll be back. But anyway, so I'm going to say, I'm going to do my sign off and then pass it back to STL. Kim Possible, if there's anything you want to add in the chat. But once again, thank you, STL, for giving us this space to all be here together. And thank you, every single one of you, for being here. You all are awesome. And you're doing the work, just showing up, even if you're in the chat or not in the chat, if you're just lurking, you're doing the work by showing up here and even just receiving. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Continue to find the joy. Every single day, find the joy in something because you're worth it and you all deserve it. It is raining. Right. We'll take Cece. We'll take her too. Yes, we will. Cece, she don't miss out on anything. So Cece's our unicorn. So we'll take her too. Yes. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you. STL, throwing it to you.
As always, Crazy Berry Town, such a phenomenal time and a phenomenal job that you do with us here in this space. Thank you. Can't say it enough. Kim Possible, thank you for trying to get in. I just noticed that I'm guessing since we changed locations, it's going to the wrong phone. So I'm so sorry about that. But we'll get it next time. We'll have it ready for the next time. But we will meet you in Discord in just a few minutes. I want to say I love everybody here. And you are not alone. Thank you for coming on this journey of good grief with us. Peace for your journey. So much love to you. See you next time. All right. Bye-bye.